My name is Tommie Sunshine. I'm from New York City, Brooklyn Fire. We are here in Montreal, Canada for Ilesoniq. I am wearing the Canadian tuxedo, representing. I'm fine, actually. It's in comparison to other times that I've been up here where it's been like 40 below zero. This seems like Club Med. Oh gosh, I mean, at least a dozen. I mean, like it's I used to come up here a fair amount for iHeart Tech. Oh Jesus, I used to come up here a fair amount for I Love Neon, and I used to do all their shows. And it's been a minute. I haven't been up here in a while, but gosh, I really felt compelled to play a really weird set of music today, and I feel like I did that. I love it. I mean, like, I think it's really great. I mean, to be able to roll in here and play the crazy ass music that I just played and have the person who booked me for the festival thank me for playing a good set. I mean, what more could you ask for? I mean, I took full liberties and played music that I don't normally play. So it was really an experimental move, but I had to do it. Well, I thought about it, and I know that Jesse plays deep house, and I know what Pierre plays, and I was like, do I really just want to be the conduit between and play 45 minutes of deep house that goes into 45 minutes of techno, setting it up for Pierre, or do I want to do something a little more creative than that? And Canadians, they have the depth to understand a rich set of music. So, I played what I would call space breaks. I mean, I don't know what else you would call that. I mean, there's a lot of records right now that are very, very unique, and they're breakbeat records for sure, but there's really not a name for the genre. But I kind of like space breaks. I like the way I think it accurately describes the sound, I was playing in the beginning. I was playing kind of like wonky techno, like really kind of like off kilter, like Shinichi Asawa and ZZT. And I mean, I was going through records to start. I came in a day early. I was sitting in my hotel room yesterday putting the set together. I mean, I keep it tight. I mean, I get it down to about 40, and then kind of sculpt it from there. Well, I mean, of course, EDM has changed electronic music. So, I mean, and this is controversial and people get really like bent out of shape about this, but I mean, I refer to EDM as a genre. Like, I don't think that, everything is one lump thing. I think that's really silly. I think that like electronic music is a nice nomenclature for all of the different things. EDM does not accurately describe, I don't think you can take Flume and say that he's the same thing as Hardwell. I don't really think that that's accurate. So EDM as a genre has changed things, and obviously, it's rolling in here today, hearing the music from the main stage. I was like, wow. I'm like, that's very different. Like you would have never heard music like that in Canada. But music has changed. So it's like, I understand that, but that was the main stage, and main stage music sounds the same when you're in Asia or Australia or Europe or Canada or America. So it's, it is what it is. I mean, they both have their place, I mean, that's the beauty of electronic music, is that, and especially after 2 decades of DJing, you can roll into anywhere and do just about anything. I mean, when you have, 32 gigabytes of music on a memory stick, like, I mean, I could play from now until next Thursday. Oh, I mean, come on, yeah, of course. I mean, Vegas is awful for that. I mean, it's paint by numbers. You know what I mean? Like who wants to listen to that? But I mean, but you do have to remember. I mean, if you're playing in Las Vegas, you're not playing to a room full of necessarily your fans. You're playing to a room full of people who are transient and are they're just passing through. I mean, that's what Vegas is. It's it's a destination. People go there because they want to party and they want to gamble and they want to go to strip clubs and they want to get into trouble. The music is background music for those nightclubs. I don't hate it, but it's not the optimal way to experience the culture. Well, there is no culture in Las Vegas. Like, it's kind of the opposite of culture. Yeah, it's like a vacuum. Like, all of the soul and the culture of America is getting sucked into a black hole that's like centered somewhere in the middle of Las Vegas. Oh boy. Well, I have a record coming out with Chocolate Puma on Steve Angelo's Size in October. I have 4 singles about to come out on Ultra. I have an original with Halfway House and Fast Eddie. I have a record coming out with Glow in the Dark and 10 Bears. I have a record with Party Squad. And then there's one with Vince Mogan, another Dutch guy. But those are all slated for Ultra. And then there's another original that Halfway House and I just finished that's either going to go to Hysteria or to Musical Freedom. So, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. And I've got a TV, I don't even know, it's not even a TV show, it's a show. But that I'm doing with Red Bull. We're just putting the finishing touches on the deal, but I'm going to be hosting a show for Red Bull where I sit down with the biggest names in this music and talk to them on a very, very serious artist level and get interviews out of people that nobody else will get. Just really just getting people who are very, very inflated to come back down to earth and talk on the real. And yeah, I mean, he'll be on the list. Joel and I have known each other for a long time. I sat in Joel's studio in Toronto. Back in the day, I was playing at what's the big club? Yeah, I was playing at Government, and I came in a day early, and he and I got in the studio together and messed around, and nothing ever came of the track. But it's so funny. If I was able to dig up all these never fully realized records, it would be pretty funny because I always think of that one and how that obviously would have been amazing to have had that out and for it to live. But the funniest one ever was I wrote a track and this was the second trip I ever took to Australia, and the two biggest guys in this equation, this is very funny, they were a group from Australia called TV Rock, and it was Grant Smiley and Yvonne Goud from the big the big Phoenix Paul In My Mind record, that Axwell remixed. But it was the two of them and myself and Dragon, Dirty South, and we made this track, and we joked because we wanted to make it this big epic song, and Dragon actually played power chords in it on his guitar, and we joked, we were like, what should we call it? And we said that the name of the track should be Speedboat, because we were all gonna buy boats with the money that this record would make. And what's funny is we never ended up finishing the record, but it's hilarious to me because in all this time, I found the CD when I was moving recently, and it really cracked me up because it was oh my gosh, what a crazy woulda, shoulda, coulda. You know, like, yeah, of course. But you know what? I mean, I've had a slow and steady rise my entire career that I wouldn't trade for anything. Like, I would never want to have to deal with the pressure of, like, you know, having like a massive hit record and then having to follow it up. Like, that sounds like a nightmare to me, you know, like, and you know, my best advice for the people that have to do something like that is just to keep doing, you know, what you were doing before, and just be yourself and mean it, and just don't get caught up in the mind games of like having to create something as big or bigger. My name is Tommie Sunshine, and I read Bunk in the Trunk.